Sharon, a diligent and hardworking lady, is in love with her charming boss, Murphy. However, Murphy doesn't feel the same way about her. He is deeply in love with her sister, Shirley. This makes Sharon jealous, and she conspires with a stranger to pour a harmful liquid on her sister's face, hoping Murphy will leave Shirley. But guess what? Murphy is now confused, while Sharon plans her next move. You won't believe what happens next. Kindly subscribe to this channel as we unveil how it all started. The movie begins with Sharon on a phone call with her boss, Murphy. He insists she take 3 weeks to recover from her health issues, but she insists she's fine and plans to resume work the next day. Sharon and her sister Shirley spend time together while their mother walks into the room, bringing Shirley some natural fruits, pineapple and watermelon, for her health. Although Shirley murmurs that she doesn't want the fruits, their mother insists, reminding her it's important for a healthy recovery following the successful kidney transplant Sharon had undergone to save her life. Shirley reluctantly accepts, and the sisters bond as they talk. The following day, Sharon is at Murphy's office, where he appreciates her hard work and diligent contributions to the company's operations. He shares how challenging things have been during her absence and expresses concerns about managing his busy schedule, including attending a school meeting for his sister. Sharon volunteers to help him with the meeting, and he appreciates her gesture. Later that day, Sharon is at Murphy's home with his sister, Annie, who thanks her for attending the school meeting on behalf of her brother. The two of them get along well. That same night, Sharon and Shirley are in their room when Sharon receives a credit alert from her boss. Excited, she shares her happiness with Shirley. Sharon calls Murphy to thank him for his kind gesture, and they both smile, clearly happy with each other. The next morning, Shirley comes home from work, complaining about the stress and challenges she faces at her organization. She shares that her current target is to find a businessman with 2 billion naira to deposit in a new account with her bank. Frustrated, she explains how difficult this task has been. Sharon suggests talking to her boss, Murphy, who might either patronize her or connect her with prominent businessmen. The following day, Sharon is at Murphy's house admiring his picture when his friend walks in and teases her about liking Murphy. She brushes off the comment, claiming she has other matters to attend to. That evening, Murphy and his friend are chatting in the living room about a woman when Murphy's sister, Annie, interjects. She asks if Murphy has ever considered dating Sharon, his secretary, before leaving the room. Murphy laughs it off, saying it's impossible. While his friend deliberates on the idea, Murphy dismisses it, explaining that he has no feelings for Sharon and could never date his secretary. The following morning, Annie tells Sharon that her brother has been talking about her and might be considering asking her out. Sharon becomes excited and her expectations rise. Later that day at the office, Sharon reports on her daily duties to Murphy. Afterward, she tells him about Shirley's target at work and how she needs to find potential customers to open accounts at her bank. Murphy responds positively and promises to think about it. He then surprises Sharon by asking her out to dinner, which she happily accepts. Sharon is overjoyed and tells Shirley that she's finally going out with the man of her dreams. As she dresses up, Shirley advises her to lower her expectations, but Sharon ignores her, thrilled and excited. That evening, Sharon is in Murphy's car when her mood changes. She tells Murphy she thought he wanted to ask her an important question, expressing disappointment. Murphy, in turn, feels disappointed and reminds her that the purpose of their outing is to celebrate the company's 6th anniversary. He also scolds her for not remembering this and demands an apology. Despite this, they get along, and Sharon invites Murphy to her home to meet her mother. As Murphy sat inside Sharon's home, he got along well with her mother. They all talked and laughed together. When Shirley, Sharon's sister, walked in, Murphy was immediately attracted to her. He greeted her with his charming gestures, introduced himself, and shook her hand. Shirley acknowledged him briefly and went inside, while Sharon observed the interaction quietly. The following morning, Murphy asked Sharon for Shirley's phone number. When Sharon inquired why he needed it, he brushed it off, claiming it was nothing important. Sharon hesitated and lied that her phone had gone blank, leaving her visibly worried. Later that day, Murphy's friend visited the office. Sharon seized the moment to pull him aside and asked him a personal question. Did Murphy have a girlfriend? His response was no, and he teased Sharon, saying she must like him. She admitted it, but asked him to keep it a secret. The next day, Sharon was in the car with Murphy when he mentioned he needed a glass of water. Since they were close to her house, he suggested stopping there. Sharon hesitated, but eventually invited him in. While Murphy waited in the living room, Shirley returned home from work. Murphy used the opportunity to ask for her phone number, which Shirley gave him before leaving the room. Sharon then brought him the water, unaware of what had transpired. That night, Sharon noticed Shirley's phone ringing and discovered it was Murphy calling. Upset, she asked Shirley to delete his number. Although Shirley hesitated, she eventually complied, asking Sharon why she was so upset. Sharon denied being upset and brushed it off. The following day, Murphy greeted Sharon at the office, trying to start a conversation. However, Sharon ignored him and refused to engage. That night, Murphy called Shirley, asking why she had been avoiding his calls. Shirley told him she didn't want him contacting her. Murphy then made her an irresistible proposal. He would deposit 80 million naira into her bank if she allowed him to open an account. Shirley agreed, feeling excited by the offer. The next day, Shirley went to Murphy's house with the necessary documents for the account opening. Murphy suggested they talk and get to know each other first, but Shirley remained professional and insisted on leaving. Reluctantly, Murphy signed the documents. As she was about to leave, he offered to drop her off, and she agreed. During the drive, they talked, and Shirley mentioned her struggles with her car. The following morning, a man with a car arrived at Shirley's house, claiming to be her new driver hired by Murphy. Surprised, Shirley called Murphy, who explained that he wanted to help her with her transportation challenges. Although she felt uncomfortable with the gesture, she reluctantly got into the car and left. Later, Sharon was at home explaining work details to a new employee when Shirley came out dressed. After exchanging greetings, the new employee became visibly attracted to Shirley, but Sharon snapped at him, telling him to focus on work. When Shirley stepped outside, she saw the same driver Murphy had hired. Feeling displeased, she immediately called Murphy and told him she didn't want her sister to find out about his gestures and that she was not interested in his special treatment. Then she left abruptly. The following day, Murphy went to Shirley's house himself, insisting on giving her a ride while they talked. Although Shirley initially refused, she eventually agreed. As they drove off, Sharon noticed Shirley getting into Murphy's car and felt deeply displeased. During the ride, Shirley explained to Murphy that Sharon liked him and had feelings for him. She emphasized that she didn't want anything to affect her good relationship with her sister. Murphy, however, refused to give in. He confessed his love for Shirley and explained that he had no romantic feelings for Sharon. To prove his love, Murphy called one of his media contacts and instructed them to plaster billboards and advertisements all over the city, declaring, "Murphy loves Shirley." That same day at the office, a staff member informed Sharon about billboards being published all over the city, declaring Murphy's love for Shirley. Sharon felt deeply upset upon hearing this. When Sharon got home, she confronted Shirley in anger and slapped her, accusing her of ignoring her warnings to stay away from Murphy. Shirley defended herself, explaining that Murphy's public declaration of love meant he truly cared for her. This only made Sharon angrier. Their mother stepped in to calm the situation, but Sharon remained upset and inconsolable. The following day, Shirley went to Murphy's house to express her love for him, and they shared a romantic moment together. That same day at the office, Sharon approached Murphy and confronted him about his relationship with her sister. Murphy was honest, explaining his true feelings for Shirley. Sharon left his office feeling hurt and upset. Later that day, Sharon manipulated one of her employees, who appeared interested in Shirley, into approaching her sister in an attempt to win her over. Seeing this as an opportunity, the employee agreed. That evening, Sharon visited Murphy's house and spoke with his sister. She lied and manipulated her, convincing her to reveal Murphy's whereabouts and if he was seeing another woman. The next day, Sharon's employee went to her house and attempted to impress Shirley, but instead, he embarrassed himself. Displeased by his behavior, Shirley left abruptly. That night, their mother tried to mediate the ongoing dispute between Sharon and Shirley. However, neither of them was willing to explain the root of their misunderstanding. The following day, Shirley visited Murphy at his house, and they spent quality time together. Murphy's sister, influenced by Sharon's manipulations, saw them and felt displeased. She immediately called Sharon to inform her about what was going on. When Shirley got home, Sharon confronted her again, accusing her of pursuing Murphy despite her warnings. Shirley insisted that Murphy had approached her and that it wasn't her fault. Sharon accused Shirley of betrayal and tried to emotionally manipulate her by reminding her of the kidney transplant Sharon had undergone to save her life. She pleaded with Shirley to leave Murphy, but Shirley refused, saying she had already fallen in love with him. Shirley left, leaving Sharon in tears. The following day, as Shirley was leaving for work, a stranger threw a harmful liquid on her face. Later, their mother received a call about Shirley's condition and decided to visit her at the hospital. She asked Sharon to come along, but Sharon lied, claiming she had a busy schedule at work. That day, when Sharon arrived at the office, Murphy asked about Shirley. Sharon, cold and indifferent, refused to give him details. She simply responded that Shirley was in critical condition and not ready to take his calls. She advised him to keep trying her number. The next day, Shirley was at home with her mother, worrying about the state of her face. As she looked at herself in the mirror, she broke down in tears, feeling discouraged and disheartened by her appearance. Her mother comforted her, holding her tightly as she cried. While Murphy is at home with his sister, worried that Shirley has not been responding to his calls, his sister advises him to go to her house in person to find out what is going on. As soon as he leaves, Murphy arrives at Shirley's house, but Sharon prevents him from seeing her. Despite this, Murphy insists and goes to her room. Shirley turns away because she feels self-conscious about her appearance, but Murphy gently encourages her to face him, telling her how much he cares for her. When she turns toward him, Murphy is surprised by her appearance, feeling deeply concerned for her, and decides to leave. Shirley cries in her room and her mother comforts her. Meanwhile, Murphy explains to his friend how startled he was by Shirley's appearance. His friend advises him to be more understanding, saying he should have asked Shirley about what happened instead of leaving so abruptly if he truly cares about her. Murphy explains that he was caught off guard and didn't know what to do in the moment. They discuss it further. Later that same day, Sharon visits Murphy at his house, and they talk about the situation. Sharon tries to console him and offers wine to help calm him down. They drink together and both end up intoxicated. Sharon tries to get closer to Murphy, but he firmly tells her that he loves Shirley, not her, and asks her not to take advantage of the situation. That night, Murphy reflects on his friend's advice and decides to take action. He immediately gets in his car and heads to Shirley's house, calling her as he drives, but she does not pick up. Meanwhile, Shirley, feeling overwhelmed and isolated in her room, decides to end her pain. She stands on a stool with a rope in her hands, intending to take her own life. Just as she is about to act, Murphy enters and sees her. He immediately rushes to her side, stopping her and offering comfort. The next morning, Shirley's mother expresses her concern, and Murphy insists that Shirley stay with him for a while. He offers to help arrange surgery for her face in another country. Shirley's mother is deeply moved and thanks him for his kindness, giving her approval for the plan. When they get home, Murphy's sister is shocked by Shirley's appearance. Though Shirley feels embarrassed and wants to leave, Murphy insists that she stay and apologizes for his sister's reaction. The following day, Shirley is using her phone when Murphy's friend notices her and is taken aback by her appearance. Shirley quickly retreats inside, and Murphy's friend tries to apologize for his reaction. Murphy's sister then shares that she has not been fond of Shirley, but Murphy's friend advises her not to judge someone by their appearance. He tells her that Shirley is a kind person, and she should get to know her better before making any assumptions. That night, Sharon calls Murphy, claiming that she is in urgent need of help. Murphy, concerned, tells Shirley and leaves immediately. However, after he leaves, Sharon enters Shirley's room. Shirley is surprised, wondering why Sharon is there. Sharon reveals that she paid someone to harm Shirley's appearance, thinking that it would make Murphy dislike her. Unbeknownst to Sharon, Murphy's sister is recording the conversation on her phone. As Sharon attempts to hurt Shirley again, Murphy's sister steps in, revealing that she has already informed Murphy about Sharon's actions. Sharon panics and runs off, and Murphy's sister comforts Shirley. When Murphy arrives, his sister explains everything to him. Later that night, Sharon is taken into police custody for her actions. Her mother reprimands her, emphasizing how wrong her behavior was. Tearfully, Sharon explains that she acted out of jealousy, believing that Shirley had taken away the man she loved. However, her mother firmly tells her that her actions were inexcusable. The next day, Murphy's friend visits him at work, playfully teasing him about his feelings for Shirley. They enjoy each other's company, and Murphy confides that while he misses Sharon's presence at the company, he cannot forgive her for the hurt she caused Shirley. Later that day, Sharon's mother approaches Murphy, pleading for her daughter's release. Murphy expresses his frustration, stating that Sharon's actions have caused significant harm to Shirley. After much pleading, Murphy agrees to see what can be done, but makes it clear that he does not want Sharon anywhere near Shirley. Murphy then packs Shirley's belongings for her trip. Shirley, wanting to reconcile with her sister, begs Murphy to allow her to visit Sharon before leaving. Although Murphy initially refuses, he eventually agrees. The following week, Shirley speaks to her sister, sharing her feelings of hurt and frustration. She asks if Sharon likes the way she looks now and expresses how deeply hurt she feels by Sharon's actions. Sharon, realizing the pain she caused, cries in regret. A month later, Murphy is in the living room with his sister, calling the doctor to check on the progress of Shirley's surgery. The doctor confirms that the surgery was successful and everyone is overjoyed. The following week, Murphy and his friend head to the airport to pick up Shirley. When she arrives, Murphy is ecstatic to see how beautiful she looks, and the entire family celebrates the joyous news. This story teaches us the importance of showing compassion toward our loved ones. Sometimes, we need to make significant sacrifices for the people we care about. We must avoid selfishness and always consider the needs of others. We hope you enjoyed this story and took valuable lessons from it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Nollywood movies. Thank you.
Thank you.